Gosh, I'm trying to get this thing to work. Hold on. Oh, I'm trying to set this thing up correctly. Hey! Hi, everybody. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to get this thing to work right. Hold on. This is impromptu. Let me get this up here correctly. Hi, Mike. All right. Let's see if this will work. I had it on wrong. Dang it. You can't put the phone in a certain position or else it's too high up. I know. This is not shaving related, so don't ask me any shaving questions. There we go. Let's see. All right. Hey, Thomas. Let's see if I can get this set up right. So what we're doing today is, sorry, let me get out of the way. There's a truck here. We are driving on the LBJ Ranch. So the 36th president of the United States, Lyndon Baines Johnson, this was his ranch, and now it's a national park. And since his birthday is today and my birthday is today, I always like to come out here and visit. And I'm taking the driving tour. Let me know if you can hear me all right. And yeah, so this is it's a little hazy today. I think it's the Amazon fires are causing smoke all the way over here in Texas. But this is a working ranch. This is the LBJ Ranch. And happy birthday. Oh, thanks everybody. And this is where LBJ was born. He grew up, he went to school. This is the Texas White House, as they call it. Down here, you'll see that in a minute when I drive by. And where he died, and he's buried, all right here. And then he did everything else. Oh, good, I'm glad you can hear me, good. And so I'm taking a drive on the ranch right now. Like I said, it's a little hazy in the distance. Thanks everybody for the birthday wishes. Telemarketers. Okay, there we go. Sorry, telemarketer was trying to ruin my live stream. Now cut it out. There's a cattle guard. I just went over a cattle guard. See, this is still a working ranch, so there are Hereford cows on this ranch. This is out in the hill country of Texas. And I know a lot of you people have never been to Texas, and I kind of wanted to show you at least this section of it, which was, I'm going to pull off to the side here and let this truck go past me. This is one of a beautiful little section of Texas that I love to come out and visit. And actually, hold on, let me plug in the phone so that it doesn't die on me. There we go. Hi everybody, can you see me? Let me take this stuff off. Hold on. Yeah, this is my car. These are my Han Solo dice. All right. Hi everybody. So I'm driving around the ranch, and I thought I'd take you with me because I'm by myself. I've been doing this for 20 years or more because we share the same birthday, and like I was gonna say just a second ago, let me put it in park. Oh, let me put my hat on, hold on. I bought the dice just off eBay. So back in 1835, I believe, my great-great-great-great-grandmother, her name was Rachel Means, she came to Texas before it was a state. It was still Mexico. And she brought her 3 kids. And then her son, William, took part in the Texas Revolution. And if you were here in Texas at that time and then still lived here after the revolution was over, then you were given a grant of land. And so what they called it was a league and a labor of land. And these were measurements of area. And so that comes out to about 4,600 acres of land, or about 3,000 football fields, American football fields. So this land right here that I'm driving on, was that land given to my great-great-great-great-grandmother, Rachel Means. And that was in the 1830s, 1836. She and her family never lived out here because back then the Comanche Indians were still in charge of this part of Texas. Thank you, Damon. Germany. Hi, Germany, from the LBJ Ranch here in Texas. I'm going to turn it back around here in a minute so you can see where I'm driving. Anyway, so this is ancestral land to me. They never lived on it, but they owned it until about the 1870s when they sold it. And then eventually President Johnson bought it. His family lived here when he was a little kid. He was born on this land. He died on this land. He's buried right over there. We'll drive by the, hey, Luke. He's buried here on this land. And I just went to they have a wreath laying ceremony for his birthday. It's his 111th birthday today. And so, like I said, I've been coming out here for over 20 years doing this because it's just a beautiful part of Texas. It's a beautiful drive out here. It's not far from Austin. And I love history, as you guys know, especially the 1960s, you know, late 50s, 60s. So it's right up my alley. So anyway, let's continue the drive. I'm heading down towards the Texas White House, as they call it. And I'll probably just get out of the car in a minute and walk around. You can see what it looks like. And let's do that. So, you love the 1920s, Luke? Yeah, I love it. Any period that I wasn't born in, I find fascinating, but I guess that's kind of the way it is for a lot of people, you know. If you live through it, you're like, nah, that was boring. Although I do love the 70s and 80s. So here we're heading down the long path. Sorry if it's a little bouncy. I've got this thing hooked to the windshield. Croatia, how you doing? Tomislav, how you doing? Thank you. So I'm driving around the LBJ Ranch, the President Lyndon Baines Johnson. Do we all have shotguns? No, not all of us, but a lot of us do. I don't actually own a shotgun. I own a .22 rifle and a couple of old cowboy type guns, but I'm not a big gun guy, but I do own guns. I know how to. I was raised with respect and safety in using firearms from my grandfather. But anyway, so we're here on the LBJ Ranch. There's a bunch of cows off to the left drinking at one of the stock tanks here. This is the road down to what they call the Texas White House, which is the main house for President Johnson when he lived here with Lady Bird Johnson and his daughters. In fact, his daughter is here right now for the wreath laying, so I just saw her and one of his granddaughters. Unfortunately, for all he tried to do socially with the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, Medicare, Medicaid, public broadcasting. Unfortunately, the Vietnam War really kind of brought him down. And that's what a lot of people for a long time, yeah, ZZ Top, they're probably around somewhere. For a long time, no one could extricate LBJ from Vietnam, but I think it's starting to, people are, with hindsight, history and all that being 2020, you're starting to see that it wasn't just all about the Vietnam War. It was also about lots of social programs that still continue to this day in our country. Here's another cattle guard. Cattle guards are so cows can't walk wherever the heck they want to. They're just these pipes that go across the road that have just enough gap that their hooves would get stuck down in it, so they don't. So straight ahead is the hangar with a Lockheed Jetstar, which was, this ranch does have a runway, an airplane runway just to the left. You can't see it from where I am, but it's just to the left of me. And you couldn't land Air Force One here because the jet's too big and this runway's too small, but you could land this Lockheed Jetstar, which is what we're about to pull up next to here. Now, right now, the Texas White House is under construction, because it's an old building. The original section of it was built in the 1800s, and so it's undergoing some major renovations to make sure it doesn't collapse, you know. So I won't be able to take you inside there, but I can walk around the grounds and show you different stuff. Another cattle guard. And maybe you can now see the jet straight ahead. I'm gonna park and get out and we'll walk around. Hi everybody, hi Jill. Dinner time. Not for me, it's almost lunchtime here. So there's the jet, there's the hangar beyond it. That little green building there is where the Secret Service used to have their little headquarters when President Johnson was at the ranch. And we're gonna find a parking spot over here. It's a little hazy today because I think of that Amazon, those fires in the Amazon. The smoke makes it all the way over here sometimes. And sometimes we get dust storms from Africa. It's crazy how that can work, isn't it? Gets up in the atmosphere. All right, I'm gonna park here, unplug, flip things around, and we'll go take a look. All right, let's see here. All right, let's get out of the car. Ooh. All right. So the landing strip, which you can't really see, is right along there. And we're gonna walk over here. Going on at good afternoon, that's right. All right, so this is kind of the main house area. It's over there past those trees. You'll see, I'll walk past it in a minute. I don't know, like I said, it's under major renovation, so I'm not sure how if you can even walk up to it right now. They seem to have a little thing blocking it, but I'm not sure. So here's you want to go look in the jet? Who wants to go look in the jet? Sort of, not Air Force One, sort of Air Force 1/2. This was the jet that President Johnson used to come out to the ranch sometimes. No, this is not my ranch. No, this is the President Johnson, LBJ's ranch. I wish. Although, like I said earlier, it is ancestral land of mine. It was granted to my great grandfather in 1836, or grandmother, I'm sorry. And then they sold it in the 1870s. All right, here we go in the presidential jet. There is the cockpit. You see that? Ooh, it smells good in here. It smells like an old thing. Look at that. There you go. There's the presidential seal back there. President Johnson was a big guy. He was like 6'3", 200 some odd pounds. This is a very short. You'd have to duck to get in here. I'm ducking right now. You see my head and my hat's touching the ceiling. So there's the. All right. Here's the side of the jet. It's painted like Air Force One, United States of America. If you're just joining me, I'm taking you on a tour of the LBJ Ranch out here in Central Texas. And there's the hangar. Let's just go walk around. Take you by this, the Pedernales River runs right past this. And so I can probably take you down there and you can take a look at that. This is a visitor center now. Yeah, I should go shave on that plane. Yeah, right. This is those are the Secret Service trailers back from the 1960s. LBJ was president from 63 to 68. Actually 69, I guess, technically. Yeah, so they're doing construction or reconstruction on the ranch itself, so you can't go in right now. I'm not sure. Oh, this is the LBJ Ranch. 36th President of the United States, Lyndon Baines Johnson. This was his ranch, and it's now a national park. And there's some cars. Yeah, my family owned this land from the 1830s till the 1870s when they sold it, but they never lived up here because during that time in Texas, it was completely being run by the Comanche Indians. And they did not want white people on their land, for good reason. And they were very, very brutal Indian tribe. Very good horsemen as well. So they're doing, so this is the hangar. Let's go over here and look at. So this is all 60s vintage era buildings, and some are older. Comanche, not Cherokee. These are some old 70s. These are actually Lady Bird Johnson's cars, LBJ's wife. You might have heard of Lady Bird Johnson. These are her cars in the 1970s. Big, giant, spacious Lincolns. That's a Lincoln Continental. We're gonna walk over here the front. Area closed. Okay, you can't really go in there. Let's take a look at. There, am I back? I went inside there to show you the cars, and it cut me off, so I'm not going to go in there. But those are the. See that little blue car over there in the distance? That's what they call an amphi car. That's a car that can go in the water and on land. Now, it's under construction, the main house. But here's the main house right here, what they call the Texas White House, that President Johnson bought, I believe, in 1951. And it's where he passed away in 1973. Wow, there's a really big old, yeah, this is the ranch just outside Austin, about an hour outside Austin. There's an enormous old oak tree that has lost some huge limbs. Oh, it's terrible. Can you see that? My family didn't have issues with Indians because they lived down along the Texas coast. They never came up here. But people that lived in this area certainly did have issues with Indians. Oh, do you see? This big, giant, beautiful oak tree has lost some really big limbs and they're on the ground right now. Ah, it's terrible. These old live oak trees. Right down there is the Pedernales River. And let's walk over this way. So this is what they call the Texas White House. So leaders from all over the world were brought here. Here's a picture of them having a cabinet meeting out front here. So there's President Johnson and Secretary McNamara, the Defense Secretary. This was in 1964. And that's them sitting there in front of that tree right there, in front of the house. So yeah, leaders from all over the world were invited here, including President Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Nixon. Anybody who was anybody back then came to this ranch because President Johnson loved coming out here. It's a beautiful area. It is beautiful, all these live oak trees, but it's really it's bumming me out that tree has lost so many of its branches. Hi, Ohio. Hi, Chad. Let me get a little closer here. You can see how, dang, that really huge chunk. Do you see that? That thing no, it's not too hot right now. It's only in the 80s. When you get out here in the morning, it can be nice and cool. There's a breeze. But I'm just sad that this big oak tree had the thing that used to be there, but now it fell. You know, this is what happens with these old trees. They start to fall apart, but that is a huge chunk. Anyway, that's under the shade of this tree was where President Johnson would have cabinet meetings and hang out and do stuff. The Pedernales River's right along there. It's a very small river. It's not like a giant. And usually it can be dry this time of year, you know, the end of August. But there's actually water in it. We had some rain recently, so. Hi, Nebraska. This is the LBJ Ranch, if you've ever heard of it. It looks like that giant branch that fell just missed. Yeah, you know what I could do? I could, yeah, get a piece of that. That's not a bad idea. I could get an acorn off this tree and grow my own. See, there's a little acorn right here. Grow my own presidential tree. It is a beautiful place, and that's where President Johnson came to recharge his batteries from Washington. He was a workaholic like you wouldn't believe. That's his bedroom right there. That's actually where he died. That's the old bedroom. See, the original part of the house was right here. His aunt and uncle lived there, and when he was a little kid, he used to come down here. His boyhood, where he was born, is just down the road. I'll show you that in a little bit. So he would walk down here to it's an old stone section built in 1800s, and he would come for Christmas and that kind of stuff. So he had deep roots in this land, and that's not a bad idea. Make a shaving brush make the LBJ shaving brush. But it's kind of quiet out here. White House, Texas White House closed. Yeah. But there's a nice swimming pool. Lots of pictures of them enjoying this pool back in the 60s. There's the flag pole. I always flew the American flag, the Texas flag, and an LBJ flag. That right there, all those live oaks, that's called the Oak Grove, and they would have big barbecues there for heads of state. Like if the, President of Mexico would come, or whoever, whatever dignitaries would come, they'd have big barbecues under those oak trees. There's the flagpole with the American flag on top, Texas in the middle, and the little blue LBJ flag on the bottom. See, we've got a little bit of a breeze. It's not too hot right now. Here's a little plaque that says, "To Lyndon and Lady Bird Johnson, our friends, from Tom Miller, Ed Clark, R. Max Brooks, E.H. Perry, Bess Beeman, Christmas 1955. There you go. Yeah, it's steeped in history, this place. That's why I love it. It's a beautiful, beautiful area of Texas. And I just want to jump in that pool right now. It looks so inviting, it's so clean. This is still a working ranch. No one lives in the house now, but it's a working ranch. So there's still cattle being raised and sold and everything else. Hi, Herman. I'm still bummed out about that tree though. That's probably, 250-year-old tree, and it lost a big chunk, but I'm just glad it lost only that chunk and not the whole dang thing, because that would stink. But anyway, I think we'll walk. There's some. If you've ever seen Texas deer poop, there's some white-tailed deer poop. I almost stepped in. Anyway, so yeah, I've been coming out here for over 20 years on my birthday, because it's the same. We share the same birthday, the president and I, August 27th. Hi, Anthony. And it's so beautiful out here. And we just had the wreath laying ceremony at the grave site. And his daughter and granddaughter are here. Yeah, this is my Stetson open road hat. Got to wear a straw hat in the summertime because it gets hot. And there's a reason why we wear these in Texas. Yeah, it's a pleasure, Solid Shape. It's a pleasure sharing this kind of stuff with you. That's why I do it. It's really cool. Section of Texas that I love and feel connected to. Thanks, Caden. My favorite president in history, I'm fascinated by LBJ, of course. JFK is fascinating. Lincoln, all the good ones. I like the good ones. How about that? We'll say that. I like the good ones. That's as close to politics as I'll ever get. One day you come to Texas? Yeah. Where do you live, Herman? Ohio? Or was that someone else? Let me switch it around. You can get a closer look. It's the White House is under. They're doing some renovations. No, I won't delete this video afterwards. They're doing renovations on the Texas White House, so normally you can take tours through it, but right now they're getting it all fixed. Oh, you live in England? Yeah, if you ever come to Texas, come to Central Texas, come to Austin, come to the Hill Country. Don't come in August necessarily because it's really hot and you might not be able to handle it. But do come to Central Texas. It's just beautiful here. There's a bunch of wasps flying around in this barn. Little Beagle Jr., oh, he's long since passed away. Look at that old, get out of here. There's a bunch of wasps flying around here. I was going to show you the old wagon there. Stetson hat expensive? Yeah, like this one I think I bought this one about 10 years ago. It was about $110. So it'll last you. It'll last you a good long time. I mean, it's got sweat stains all on it, but then you know it's seasoned well, right? And yeah, so I'm gonna walk back. Your birthday's September 19th. I'll try to remember, Chad. Remind me again when we get closer, would you? Since I'm out and about, I can't take a note on it. Here's this is the hangar, where right now you can go in and look at some exhibits. I don't want to go in because I'll lose the signal. And plus, I've been in there a million times. $60? Good job, Kyle. I have a vintage Stetson that I bought a few years ago. Let's look it over at the Secret Service trailer. See if you can see anything in there. The Secret Service trailer. And that, I believe this also was like a communications. Yeah, happy anniversary, Jill. That was a communications building, I believe, back in the 60s when the president was here. There's some people showing up. Some tourists, some visitors. Yeah, the Texas Ranger Museum in Waco is cool. I would take you inside the hangar, but I'd lose signal. So let's skip that today. It's starting to warm up out here. So what I'm gonna do is walk back to the car, and I'll drive you over to the gravesite where President Johnson is buried, and Lady Bird, and his mother and father, and grandparents, and brothers and sisters. It's a family cemetery, obviously. But yeah, it's a little warm right now, but not too bad. There's a breeze. It's a little hazy. Oh, yeah. Almost stepped in some more deer poop. I saw a ton of deer when I was driving down here. You gotta watch your step when you're out in the hill country. Watch out for rattlesnakes and deer poop. Yeah, sorry, Herman, you weren't here before. That is the Lockheed Jetstar that the president would ride in when he wanted to come to the ranch. And if he didn't drive here or take a helicopter, he could fly that jet into the ranch because there is a landing strip right over there. And you couldn't land a full-sized plane, so he had that smaller jet. I showed, go back and watch the beginning of the video, and you'll be able to see the inside of that plane, Herman. Okay, getting back in the car. I gotta set up the camera again. Hold on. This is not gonna be pretty, but it's gotta be done this way. Okay, switch this thing in here. All right. There you go, see some of the dashboard, but nothing I can do about that. All right, we're gonna drive down. So we're leaving the Texas White House compound area, and we're gonna drive through the oak grove, right along the Pedernales, down to the grave site, and also the boyhood home where he was born, which is probably 200 feet from the grave site. So it's incredible to me that someone could be born in a spot, be buried in a spot not 200 feet from that spot, and do everything that he did, including become president of the United States when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and then get re-elected in 1964. So here, let me show you this. So here is the airstrip. It's blocked off, but that, I don't know, you can't really see it, but that is the airstrip right there, where it says authorized personnel. And I've come out to this ranch. I've come to this ranch before and played Beatles music, because they have school kids come out to learn about history, and I believe it was called the Reflections of the 60s. So they had me come out and play some Beatles music, and my friend was portraying LBJ at the time. He dressed like him, and he would do speeches like him, and he was in a couple of productions as LBJ. So there's a cattle guard. So a couple of times I've come out as quote-unquote a Secret Service guy, so I'd wear like a black suit and get my hair cut short like the 60s style, and I got to drive around a 1966 Lincoln Continental convertible around this ranch, just like ones I showed. I love to drive around the ranch in the convertibles and like bring his family and friends and look at the cows and whatever animals were coming out at night or in dusk, and he'd drink a glass of scotch as he was doing it. Cutty Sark was his favorite scotch. Have a razor file? He did from what I can tell, he used electric razors mostly, and he gave away electric razors as gifts with a presidential seal on it. And so that's his, I don't know if he ever used it. He must have used a safety razor at some point, but I'm not sure what kind. But he was a fast moving man. He wanted to get in and out quick, so that's why he kind of liked the safety razor. Anyway, I mean the electric razor. Anyway, so I was able to get to drive around this ranch drinking scotch, drinking Cutty Sark, from a Cup and driving a 66 Lincoln convertible. That was unbelievable, so fun. In fact, I did it on 2 separate occasions, and I would drive visitors around and give them a tour of the ranch. So it's been a lot of fun. And that's why I come out here to kind of reconnect, you know. There's certain... I did shave this morning, yes sir. I got up early and took the kids to school and then came out here. But well, there's a deer. There's a couple of deer in the road. You want to see some Texas white-tailed deer? They look real, cattle guard. They look real skinny, but there's a bunch of them. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's a couple right there. See them? There's 2, and there's 5 of them over here on the right. There's one running across the road. There they go. They're running across the road. Whoa, they are bounding. Look at them. They're like, what is this? They are running around. Here comes another big one who's about to cross the road. Oh, no, he stopped. I'm going to take you over to what used to be the main entrance to the LBJ Ranch. It's a low... Wow, that guy is really... I wish he scared the little deer. This was the entrance. It's a low water crossing at a dam on the Pedernales that you would drive your... he would drive his car across. And I actually got to do that one time because it's not normally open to the public. But I was with the superintendent of this national park. Yeah, I have heard somebody say I sounded like Tim Allen. And I got to take a ride across the low water crossing. Do you see that? Let me see, let me point to it. That right there in the distance, that is the, see that looks like a little waterfall? That is actually a low water crossing where you drive across that. Now it's not open any longer to people like me, but I did get to go across it once in that 66, or maybe they found another 64 Lincoln, I believe, Continental, and they got to drive. I got to drive across it. It was thrill. So there's the deer again in between those 2 big oak trees. They're a little bitty, but you can see them. All right, let's continue on. The cows were staying in the shade right now because it's starting to warm up. It is 85 degrees here Fahrenheit, so there goes the deer. If you look off to the right, you see the whole family deer run. They're about to cross the road. There they go. They're crossing the road. There's the dad, or maybe that's the mom. That's the mom. Sorry, no antlers. And there's some babies. The fawn. Here they come. Here they come. Here comes 3 more. 1, 2, 3. There you go. And we're gonna cross over another cattle guard here. See the cattle guard? See those pipes down there? That's what keeps going. Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, so this, if you're just tuning in, I'm taking you on a little drive around the LBJ Ranch here in Central Texas. This was the birthplace, home, death place, burial place of the 36th President Lyndon Baines Johnson. A very interesting, flawed, generous, crude, powerful, charismatic, charming. He was, somebody once said that he was 7 of the most interesting people they'd ever met. He was, yeah, I have brought the kids out here before. I didn't bring them today because they're in school and school just started. But here's another cattle guard. I think this is the last cattle guard, yeah. But yeah, fascinating man. Fascinating things in history. And that's why it's hard to work for the man, I'll tell you that. He was a hard worker, and he demanded a lot of you. He either wanted to, you know, completely build you up, or if you were against him, then he didn't want anything to do with you. But we're driving through a really pretty section here. Here comes a park truck. This is a national park now. And we're driving up to his grandparents' home, which will be on the left. That's where his grandparents lived. Real family land here, you know. And if you also didn't join me, I was mentioning that this land was given to my great-great-great-great-grandmother, Rachel Means, because she was in Texas during the Texas Revolution, 1836. And if you were here at that time, you were given huge tracts of land. She was given 4,500 acres, which is what this is now. So this, she never lived there. My ancestors never actually lived here because they still ruled this part of Texas. But it is gorgeous. Yeah, I am. I'm on the LBJ Ranch, Andrew. This is In fact, we're gonna go see LBJ's grave here in a second. I know, it's beautiful, isn't it? Just got the camera on the suction cup on the front window and looking out at this beautiful little section. So we got his grandparents' house is off to the left there. I didn't bother to show you that, but the graveside is coming up here. Is the family cemetery, and there's still people leaving from the wreath laying ceremony this morning that they had at 10 a.m. And his daughter Lucy Haynes Johnson and his granddaughter Catherine Robb were here and spoke and welcomed everybody and their family and friends and visitors and me. We were all here to celebrate LBJ's 111th birthday and my 49th birthday. Hope this van sees, okay, don't run into me, van. So here, see this little wall, this low wall? That's the family cemetery. Yeah, you'd love Texas. So, let's see. Okay, let me get this here and let me roll down the window. Do you see the see the wreath there and two large headstones right in the middle? The one on the left is LBJ's, and the one on the right is his wife, Lady Bird. So there they are. There's a better shot, the two big ones. His is on the left with the wreath next to it, and she's on his right. So that's where President Johnson's buried. All right, I'm not gonna get out. Yep, cemetery drive-by. Hi, Kevy. How you doing, buddy? I'm taking everybody on a drive through the LBJ Ranch here in Central Texas, where President Johnson was born, lived, died, and is buried. Grew up until he was about, I think he was about 7 years old, and then he moved to Johnson City. Elvis is back in town. Let me show you the birthplace, the reconstructed place, because the original house was dilapidated and fell down. So that was where LBJ is buried, and that little white house off in the distance, you see that? That little white house over there, that's where he was born. Let me see if I can get it better. I'm not gonna go out there because you have to walk to it, but right there in the center, off in the distance, that little tiny dog trot cabin is where he was born, and where he's buried is over here to the left, and where he died was back there at the Texas White House. Good to see Kevy Shaves in the chat. Cheers from Central Texas. Hi, everybody. Jill's here celebrating her 1-year anniversary on YouTube. Kevy, I keep seeing your advertisement for Razor Rock on Facebook. Keep popping up. It's like he's made it. He's big time. Kevy Shaves popping up, and I never once clicked on, hide this ad because it's inappropriate. I kept it there. No, I've never been to George W. Bush's ranch up in Crawford, Texas, but I have been through Crawford, Texas. I've never seen it yet. Yeah, they did it. You're on there. I mean, you're there constantly. I'm getting sick of looking at you. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you're always there. But hey, Doug. A lot of people from the UK. So I'm taking you on a little drive around the LBJ Ranch here. We're kind of leaving now, but I'll drive you down Ranch Road 1, number 1, Ranch Road 1. So over here to the left is the one-room schoolhouse where LBJ went to school when he was a little boy. Your great-great-great-great-grandfather fought in the Mexican-American War as a young kid. That's cool. Under Jeb Stuart. That is cool. I love history, man. I love it, love it, love it. So here's, let me pull up here so you can see it. There's a little one-room schoolhouse here. An old Texas schoolhouse. See that right there? That's where LBJ went to school. And in 1964, I think, he came back and signed the Primary and Secondary Education Act, I believe it was. I could be wrong about which act it was. But yeah, he came back and signed that bill. You have to look that up to see exactly. And there's a quote from LBJ. It says, "All the world is welcome here." He loved this land. He loved this ranch. And I love this land and this ranch too. It's just beautiful. All right, so from old West Virginia. It's hot in Seattle today. Here it's 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's a family cemetery. That's where let me turn it around here so you can see me. There we go. Put my hat back on. That cemetery is the Johnson Family Cemetery. So it's where President Johnson's buried, his wife Lady Bird, his mom and dad, his grandparents, his brothers and sisters, and other family members are buried. So yeah, the LBJ Ranch, which we're just now leaving, is now a national park. It was given to, this is actually the 50th year it's been a national park. It was given to the National Park System in 1969. And there, I tell you something about this country, this part of Texas, Central Texas, there are 1 million wineries now. Wineries and distilleries. And they have these big wine tours that come through here. In fact, on my left, there's one called the Astris Winery. And there's just so many of them. Thank you, this is my Stetson. This is my open road, kind of LBJ style. I started wearing these probably about 12 years ago. I kind of put off getting one because I thought, well, it's kind of like putting on airs, you know, wearing a big cowboy hat. I mean, I didn't grow up in the country or anything. I'm a 6th generation Texan, but, you know, I'm not walking around with, you know, chaps on. I've always worn cowboy boots, but I finally got into wearing hats like this every now and then. I just love hats of any kind. But all right. Thank you, Chad. My favorite beer, man, I don't know. There's so many good ones now. There's one from Austin that I tend to get. It's called the 512 Pecan Porter. It's a real dark beer. I like those dark, flavorful beers. I don't like those, you know, watery American beers. Okay, so we're crossing the Pedernales River here. It's a very small little river. It's normally dry this time of year, but we had some rain recently, so there's a little bit of water in it. And let me show you what that looks like to the left here. I keep taking this off. This is not pretty cinematography, but there's the Pedernales River. It extends off to this side and meanders around. And it's not this part of the Texas. And when it floods, boy, it floods. It can take away some homes if you're not far enough away from the river. Okay, so this is Ranch Road number 1. Now, they named it that because this is the road that takes you to the LBJ Ranch. So, you know, you got Ranch Road all the way up to, I don't even know what number, you know, 200. We got definitely 290. I don't know how many roads there are, but this is Ranch Road number 1. And we're going to be driving along Ranch Road number 1 for a little bit. And I'll take you to the original entrance to the LBJ Ranch, where LBJ and his presidential entourage would drive, if they were driving, if they didn't fly in and land that jet out there on the landing strip. But this is typical Central Texas. Hey, Kyle. This is what Central Texas looks like. So we got lots of live oak trees. We got a lot of you know, native wild grasses. We've got rolling hills out here. That's why they call it the hill country. It's very, very dry now since it's the end of August. We haven't had a ton of rain, so a lot of the grass is real crunchy and burnt up. But Andrew's got a lot of heavy. Are we back? Out here in the hill country, sometimes you get spotty cell service, so I apologize if it cuts out from time to time. Yeah, we're out here in rural, you know, Texas, so I stopped here. This is the Trinity Lutheran Church. Just wanted to show you that. It's a cute little Texas hill country church. And Pedernales River over there to the right. You can catch glimpses of it every now and then. I'm going to take you to the original entrance to the LBJ Ranch. State Historical Park, Texas Parks and Wildlife. But yeah, this is what Texas looks like here. This is like a holiday that I'm not getting this year. There you go. I'm taking you on a little quick little day trip. Yeah, it's cloudy. It actually is cloudy right now. It's cloudy and hazy. So that's kind of good. It's keeping it cooler. It's supposed to be 101 today, but out here in the hill country, it's always a little bit cooler than it is in the city. But I just wanted to show you what typical, you know, what Texas looks like. You know, a lot of people think it looks like what they see in those Wild West movies, like where they film out in Arizona, where it's like a desert. And we do have that in Texas, but in this part of Texas, it's hilly and green if it's been raining, and a little bit scrubby It's not lush and soft green, certainly not like in, you know, the Northeast here in our country. This is typical Texas for you. People with the pickup trucks, Wrangler jeans, cowboy boots, hats. Not every single person carries a gun here in Texas. Whatever anybody thinks. Sorry if it's a little weirdly wobbly with the filming. But up here on the right is the original entrance, and there's a little guard house for the LBJ Ranch. No, I'm in Texas. I'm a Texan, through and through. All right, so here is the original entrance to the LBJ. There's the guardhouse. Make sure I don't drive off the road here. There you go. See? Proves it. There you go. The LBJ Ranch. Told you. I wouldn't lie to you. Yeah, everybody in Texas drives a truck. We all own ranches, and we all carry 6-shooters and wear chaps and ride fucking Broncos. Some of us do. Some of us do. That's what makes it so interesting. So there you go. All right, let's get back out on the road. I don't know how. Ooh, man, there's some longhorn cattle over there, boy. Whoa. You guys ever seen a real Texas longhorn? Well, you're about to. I got to show you these two guys because they are huge. This is worth it. Yeah, LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson. That's right. Let's get out and look at this giant longhorn, shall we? Oh, pardon me. There's the. Howdy, boys. There's two big old Texas longhorns right there. Honest to God, Texas longhorns. There you go. In their native habitat. That's right, Kev. Everyone in Scotland, everyone in the UK drinks tea every day and eats boiled sweets and, you know, all those things. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go change it to the SL Ranch. Anyway, there's a couple of longhorns for your viewing pleasure. Let's look at this guy's kind of hiding behind a tree. Let's go see if we can see him from the front. There we go. A little bit better view. That guy. Get him look over here. Hey! There you go. He's like, what? What are you looking at? Nothing wrong with tea at all. Texas tea. All right. So, yeah, over there is the LBJ Ranch where we just were. We just drove over there. The house is over there. Entrance is right here, the old entrance. My car right here. Old Honda Civic, old trusty Honda Civic. Good old American car, Honda Civic. All right, let's get back in. All right, let me plug this back in. Hold on. All right. Well, now where should we go? Should we head back that way or should we? Yeah, I'll take you, I'll just keep this going a little bit longer. Texas iced tea with a wedgie. Yeah, sweet tea. You gotta have some sweet tea down here. Actually, I don't like sweet tea. It's too sweet. I like to sweet my own tea. But anyway, here we go again. We're going back down the same way we did because that's the way back to Austin, and I'm gonna be heading back there. It's noon here. It's just past noon. Take you to the bar. You know, I could take you to any one of the like 50 wineries out here, or the distillery that's just in town. There's a bourbon distillery up here in Hye, Texas. H-Y-E, Hye, Texas. And they make good bourbon. They're a little too proud of their bourbon. It's a little too expensive for my taste for what it is. And you guys know I'm not big on bourbon. There, now I'm driving. You can actually see me. Should I wear it? I can't wear the hat because I got this. Using my Han Solo dice, just so you know, what a Star Wars nerd I am. But anyway, I'm going to pay attention to the road, not to you. Here, don't want to look at me. Let's look at the road again. So yeah, it's not time to start drinking yet. It's too soon. I will fall asleep if I start drinking. Plus, I got to drive back to Austin, which is about an hour drive from here. But yeah, sun tea. Ian likes an American tea from an island in New York. Which one that is? I actually have some PG tips at home. Thanks for the tour, Kevy. Hey, thanks for joining us, Kevy. Y'all come back. Now that's more like the deep south, Kevy. Like, y'all come back now, you hear? You've been watching too many Beverly Hillbillies. Say, see y'all later. That's what we'd say here in Texas. See y'all later. Y'all be good now. See y'all later. Say hi to your mama and them. 8 o'clock coffee. You know, the coffee I always like to get is the Gavalia or Javalia. I don't know how to pronounce it. But that's the stuff I always brew at home. Sometimes, you know, I'm not a fancy coffee drinker. I like to drink the cheap stuff. Heck, I like gas station coffee in a styrofoam cup. I don't need to have French pressed, fancy brewed espressos and, you know, all that stuff. Just give me a decent cup of coffee that's smooth rather than bitter, and lots of half and half in it. Sometimes I'll drink black, but I have to be in the mood. It's kind of boring right now, so maybe you should look at me instead. So, driving back to Austin. Gonna do some more birthday stuff today. Got my my live Beatles acoustic happy hour show tonight. So that'll be fun. I'll probably drink a couple more lagers than I normally do. How long am I staying in the Lone Star State? This is where I live. This is where I was born and raised. I've lived here. I'm a 6th generation Texan. My family has been here since the 1830s on my mom's side. So I'm not going anywhere. I've been here since I was born, and I'll be here until I die, I imagine. At least I hope so. Hope it'll be a long time from now. I gotta make sure I don't crash this car by staring at the phone too much, so I'm gonna be looking straight ahead most of the time. You want me to? Yeah, I was thinking about live streaming the show. Here we are, we're entering Blanco County. If you guys want to keep an eye, here, let me turn it around. Keep an eye on where I am on Google Maps. I'm on Ranch Road 1 and the junction of, gosh, what is it? 70. Well, I'll have to tell you in a minute. I can't remember the name of the freeway that this connects to. But ooh, there's a dead deer. Yep. Ooh, that was a buck too. He had some antlers. Yeah, that's what happens here in Texas. If you hit a deer, your car will be probably destroyed, depending on how fast you're going. Whoa, there's an exotic over there. It looked like an elk. They have exotics out here, exotic game ranches, where they'll import exotic elk and you know, antelope and things like that. And people will either hunt them, or they'll have you know, drive-through exotic game parks. But this is typical Central Texas we're driving through right here. And we're actually, so Fredericksburg is to the right. Lukenbach, Texas, if you've ever heard that, is about 10 minutes from here. And we're heading towards Johnson City and Austin, Texas. So I'll take you all the way to Johnson City. How about that? We'll look around Johnson City a little bit, which is a little small town named for LBJ's family, who helped settle it, I believe, back, I don't remember exactly when. So this is 290. So if you check Google Maps, look at Ranch Road 1 and Highway 290, and you see exactly where I am right now. Oh, Jill's got a thunderstorm. I wish it would rain here some more. We haven't had enough rain this summer. Bye, Kyle. Keep doing your videos, buddy. All right. Here we go. Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah, right. We got a long, here comes High. Here's High, Texas, Hye. Blink and you'll miss it. There's really nothing here. There's an old general store. There's now a distillery in town that make bourbon, and there's a ton of wineries around here. Tons of wineries. Probably Indian accent. Yeah. So this is High, Texas. H-Y-E. High, Texas. There's an old gas station that's no longer in business, and an old post office and market there on the right. And that's about it. That was High, Texas. There's a lot of small towns like this here in Texas. Blink and you'll miss it. Now here is the Horn Winery off to the right. There's a winery off to the left. Let's count how many wineries. So we've seen 3 so far and 1 distillery. There's another rum distillery up here on the right. So we got 3 wineries. Someone keep track. 3 wineries, 2 distilleries, and me. And we're driving down Highway 290 towards Johnson City. I don't know how interesting this is, so I don't know if I should keep it going or not. But why not? If you want to watch, it's here. We've been going for, what, an hour? Almost an hour? And we'll be going for a few more minutes at least. I think it's 15 miles to Johnson City from here. Speed limit's 70. Shouldn't take me too long. There's some land for sale there if you need to. There's still land for sale here in Texas. The High Noon Cabins and more land for sale. Driving through the hill country on Highway 290. It's a little hazy. I think it's smoke from the Amazon fires. I guess the wind is bringing it all the way over here from the Amazon, which is crazy, isn't it? This is a good road. This is very smooth. Here's Sandy. If you turn left, you get to Sandy, Texas. Oh, then we got the Blue Lotus Winery off to the left. Lots of wine out here. If you're a wine drinker, Texas wine could be pretty good. A lot of people may laugh at it, but it's getting better and better and better. Oh, 7 miles. 7 miles to Johnson City. And there's the High Cider Company, so they make cider over there. Sorry, I can't read your comments right now because I'm driving. I don't want to crash the car. But we're going through the hill country, which is swiftly become wine country in about the past 10, 15 years. None of these places were here 15 years ago, and they've all just started popping up. Now, some of them don't grow their own grapes. Some of them import them from wherever and then bottle them here and age them and do their whatever they're mixing. But some do try to grow the grapes here. But the thing is, in the Texas heat, like that bourbon distillery back there, they can't age bourbon for very long like you can in Scotland where it's colder and damper because it just evaporates. If you tried to have a 12-year-old bourbon here in Texas, it would be gone when you open the cask up. So they can only go for about 2 or 3 years before they bottle it and sell it. Just long enough to call it straight bourbon whiskey. There's some more land for sale. Some old buildings, some old stone buildings. We're driving to Johnson City now along Highway 290. We've got about 6 miles. So it'll take about 6 minutes to get there. And then I'll show you around Johnson City a little bit, a little small Texas town. There's actually a kids science museum that they opened there a few years ago. It's really cool. There's a couple of good restaurants in town. It's the county seat, so there's the county courthouse is in the middle of the old town square. And there's a bunch of goats off to the right. Ton of goats out grazing. Sorry if this is making anybody seasick. I've got this thing suction cupped to my windshield. There's the Vinovum Winery and Ron Yates Wine. So there's 2 more, if whoever's keeping track. How many is that? 6 wineries so far in the past, like 3 miles? It's wine country, folks. Look out, California. Look out, France. I don't think they're worried. Open late. That winery is open late. I bet the drunk driving incidences on this road have gone up. You don't want to be driving along this road at like 7 o'clock on a Saturday or a Sunday because you might get plowed into by some, bunch of wine snobs that were out for their day drinking. Please don't drink and drive, kids, unless you're driving a 66 convertible through the LBJ Ranch. Then you can drink and drive. That's it. Then it's okay. Only there, though. Only there. Don't even have to wear a seatbelt when you do that. There's for sale 25 to 100 acre tracts if you want to buy some land out here in hill country. There's some Red Brangus cattle ranch over to the right. And there's a cat. Now this place is new. It's the Wine Castle. Somebody built a fake castle, and I think it's ridiculous. That does not fit in the Texas hill country, and whoever did it, shame on you. That's just dumb. It's the 290 Wine Castle. It's over to the left here. You're probably not going to see it, but it looks like a castle. You see it there on the left? A gray 4-turret castle. Come on. That does not belong out here. Thank you. Be king and queen for the day. The 290 Wine Castle. Ugh. Anyway. It's kind of like when someone buys a house in like an old established neighborhood. Hopefully you got to see the Wine Castle. I don't know if I'll keep this live stream going or not all the way to Johnson City. I don't even know if it's still going. Is anyone still there? Anyway, I think that's enough. I think I'll call it a day. So thanks for joining me on this little tour of the LBJ Ranch, Texas Hill Country. I don't think I'll live stream my little Beetle Bash tonight, the acoustic thing, because it's kind of a pain to set it all up. There goes the Lewis Wines. There's another winery. Anyway, so watching, if you can still hear me, thanks for joining me. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this little ride. Hope you enjoyed that first part of it. We're into the boring section where I'm just driving. Nobody wants to see that. And I will see you next time I see you. Certainly on Friday. See y'all. Sorry I can't read all your comments, but that's not safe. It's probably worse than drunk driving. But have a good day, everybody. See you, Jill. See you, Caden. See you, Solid Shays, everybody else. And I'll catch you on the flip.